The views and comments expressed on the following radio program by its hosts and their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of RMCOnAir.com or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a new installment of the So What Morning Show. We have a special guest that's going to set the show up for us today. But before I get to my guest, let me acknowledge Chuck Doe. This is her first time manning the board. She is the board op for the show. She is in producer extraordinaire mode. What she told me? No, not producer, board op. So that's what she's doing. She's pushing all the buttons, making sure that we are in and out of commercial breaks, playing the music, the intro. She's in progress. I love it. So much appreciation and shout out to Chuck Doe. Thank you for your work here. Now, on to our special guest. This is going to set the show up today. Today, we are being blessed. I told all my guests here, we're being blessed because we're in the presence of someone who knows how to get it done. That's the bottom line. If you want to see the definition of getting it done, he's here right now. 99 years young. Leon T. Gar has lived to comb gray hair after cheating death at the age of 15. The brother paid cash for a new car at the height of the Great Depression. Was he balling? Was he balling out of control? You want to know how to pull yourself up by your bootstraps? You want to know how to manifest your dreams? You want to know how to put the work in to get from A to Z? We have the living example. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce the brother Leon T. Gar, as well as the brother who helped write the book, Let's Go to Work, by Leon T. Gar. You know who the other brother is, one of my good friends, one of my mentors. Bobby Glanton Smith is here along with brother Leon T. Gar. Welcome to the So What Morning Show.
Welcome.
All right, brother. And Leon? And Bobby?
Damn, you older than we are.
Yeah, shit. It happens to me.
Man, it's exciting to be here, man, and it's an honor to have with us this morning a living legend and a great, great man.
Man, this is the real deal right here, right now. So let's just get right to it. Brother Leon, how old were you when you decided to become wealthy?
Well, I was about 7 years old.
7?
At 7 years old, I said, my daddy had this big farm, and I said, well, that's daddy's, that's not mine. And so I decided to try to do something to make money. So I started making little wagons out of scrap lumber and selling them. You know, I make a whole wagon and sell it for $2. I thought I was making a lot of money. I started putting this money in a tobacco sack.
Tobacco sack?
Tobacco sack. Wow. One of my daddy's tobacco sacks that he smoked. So I figured I'd save it and I'd hide it behind the bed. So I didn't bother that money. The money I used would be other scrap money. I would do something else. The money I sold those wagons, I didn't use that money.
Wow.
Until it got big enough to go to the bank. The first time I went to the bank, I didn't hardly know how to put the money in the bank. The man told me, he says, you have to have a count to put the money in the bank. I said, well, can I make a count here? He said, this is the place. So that's where I started.
Wow. Wow. Let me ask you another question. What was your biggest obstacle to becoming wealthy? Like, what was standing in your way?
You know, it was Jim Crow. They didn't allow me in such places. When I was 7 to 8 years old, I had to go in the back to get what I want. The only time they allowed me in the front was a little market. So I couldn't go in the front of the store.
So how did you overcome that?
Well, I put up with that for years. I didn't know how to overcome it. So one day my sister moved to Gary, Indiana, and I scrapped up enough money to go up there to see her. I thought that was a good start for me.
Mm-hmm.
But there was too much snow on the ground. I had to move the snow to get out the door.
Right.
So I said, I'm going back home.
And home is where? Where was home at?
Home back in Louisiana.
Okay.
All right.
I went back to Louisiana to this Jim Crow place where I know I had to go in the back.
Wow. Wow. So at what age did you make your first million?
Well, I started this when I was 7 years old. I was a very sickly boy, from typhoid fever.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be dead at 3.
Mm.
My mother says, I don't think my baby's dead. Take the sheet off of him because the sheet's moving.
Wow.
So some of those eggs I've been had for 99 years. So same ailments. But I made it.
Yeah. Bobby?
So what were some of the businesses that you got into and skills that you acquired that allowed you to make $1 million before you could spell $1 million?
Well, what I've done, I went to Chicago, thought I could finish it. I had a few $100s, and it was snow there, and I said, I'm going back home. I got back home and I said, I'd come to California. So that's when I first got my first job in California.
That was in 1944, wasn't it?
1944. And later on, I got little jobs on the side doing cobbler work, fixing folks' small jobs. Then I got a job with a contractor. He was a roof and side man in those days. So I got this man, and I commenced making money.
I love the way he talks. I commenced to making money.
So you started building houses, didn't you, Mr. Gar?
Later on, I left this man and went out on my own. I stayed on my own a little while, then I met a fellow by the name of Nathan Hill. We went together and we started building houses.
Under Coast Construction, wasn't it?
We formed he had a company, Coast Construction and Building Company. He didn't have any money, but he had a license. I had the money, and so he said, man, we do good together. And so we did.
They put together a team.
1963, he passed away. Then I had to go on my own. I didn't know what to do hardly because we've been doing it together. So I decided if I'd done it with him, I can do it by myself.
So you started in construction.
Started in construction.
Wow.
Well, actually, he had always been in construction from building those little wagons that he
I used to
sold.
build little-
From 7 years old.
He found out he was good with his hands.
Right.
And before he left Louisiana, he helped build the first brick building at Grambling University.
Wow.
And so before I left Louisiana, I built a house and a little store and a duplex. I said, I'm gone now.
I'm on a roll now.
On the road. And I rented the duplex, and I put a little sign up there that says, God Grocery.
God Groceries.
God Grocery.
Look at this.
And the kids coming in, I was selling candy and apples and little fruit. And I decided, if I sell apples, fruit, I'll make me a grocery store. So I did. I had a grocery store.
I hope the people that are listening to the evolution of his businesses. I see contracting, I see real estate, retail. It's like building as he go. And this started at 7. Please continue, Leon.
Well, and then I decided I would build and buy and build. For I could get those big jobs by myself. So I went in with another company. He would give me jobs, and I would build for him. Then I decided I'd get me some salesmen. So I couldn't make no money in the colored business, so I went in white, where I know it was money.
Wow.
They always told me, you can't make money if you ain't no money in the community. You have to go in the community where money is. So I did that. So I began to get pretty good. I was honest. I would save my money, and I didn't have to borrow money. I saved my money, and I got able to build small buildings. Then I got able to build buildings.
Wow.
I went out in Orange County, built a school in the college, and he says they didn't know that was my job.
Wow.
I built this building, finished it, and the first big money I made, I saved $300,000 in that building. $300,000.
I don't think y'all understand the depth of what's going on right now. This dude.
Then I said, I'm on my way. I bet. I build anything I want to build.
Now to tie.
I won't have to borrow no money. I got money of my own. That's what I done.
We talking about financially independent right here. And how old were you when you saved that $300,000?
Well, I was in late 40s, 50, about 50. And when I had the first million.
When you had your first million?
Yeah. I couldn't count it.
You couldn't count it?
No. I didn't know how. I couldn't write it. I didn't have no education. I was sickly. I did have a 3rd grade education.
Wow.
So.
Let me just tie this all back in. This is my last question for you today. What role did your second wife play in your success?
Oh, my second wife. You ever had a push? She gave me a push.
She gave you her purse.
Push.
Her
Give
push?
me a push.
Yeah.
She pushed him.
She pushed me.
Yeah.
Ooh wee.
She says,
ooh wee.
Other folks are doing it, honey. How come you can't?
Uh-oh. Did your first wife give you a push?
Nope. My first wife pulled me back.
Uh-oh, that's tying into our topic. So you had to get rid of the one that was pulling you back.
That's right.
And then go get one that would give you a push forward. Oh.
I said that when I got rid of that, I didn't want none other wife. So one day, a lady that cleaned my house for me said, Mr. Gar, I got 2 women I want you to meet. And I said, I'm not particular about no woman. And I had pulled me back. She said, let me meet these. So I met her. Her name was Mattie Jackson.
Mattie Jackson.
And I said, I loved her. I liked that woman. Yes, I think I'm going to ask. I wanted to kiss her.
Right off the top. I need a Mattie Jackson today now.
But I didn't know her. I didn't know nothing about her. But later on, I did kiss her. Then I asked her to marry me.
How long were y'all married, Mr. Gar?
52 years.
Wow.
And in that marriage, in what year was it that you walked up and bought the first black-owned, commercially owned bank west of the Mississippi by a black man?
Well, the first big thing I bought was the bank, but I had several.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, stop a second. He bought a bank?
In cash.
I paid
Come on
cash
now.
to a bank in the 80s.
In the 80s.
It was Founders Savings and Loan. He converted it into the first commercial black bank owned by a black man west of the Mississippi, and he sold it to Magic Johnson, Janet Jackson, Gerald Busby, and a couple other people.
Okay, now see, we talking some real deal situation here. 3rd grade education. The man built himself from the age of 7.
He was 76 when he bought the bank.
My friend told me, he says, Mr. Gar, I got a deal for you. I said, what? I says, I don't want too many more deals. She says, it's a saving and loans for sale. They're closing them up. And they're trying to sell these savings loans. I know you can buy it because I'm your secretary and I know you got the money.
Wow.
So they explained to me what I had to do. Oh, that was too much work for me. You have to go to Sacramento. You got to go to all these different places and get on board.
Wow.
So I done that. I kept this bank for several years, and I said, I'm too old to handle this bank. I'm going to sell it. So I sold the bank in the late 90s.
So let me ask this really quickly. Are these stories detailed
Absolutely.
in this book, Let's Go to Work, The Millionaire Chronicle, Let's Go to Work, a 96-year-old's remarkable journey from builder to banker, Leon T. Gar with Bobby Glanton Smith. Please take a look at this book. What I want to do now is, first off, I just have to thank you for coming and sharing. I don't want to give away his whole story without them coming to support the book. Please get this book, because if you want to know how to do it, if you want to know from a first-hand builder's experience, this is a life builder we're sitting next to. He's 99 years old, Leon T. Gar.
Still in business.
Still in business.
This is his grandson sitting behind us. He runs Gar Auto Body Shop on 48th and 9th Avenue right here in Los Angeles. He's got daycare centers, but the body shop is his latest work, and he spends quite a bit of time down there making sure that runs properly.
Wow.
I want to thank you so much for having me in.
Man.
And maybe down the road
you.
we'll bring the Godfather back for some more topic-related stuff, because he's a walking institution and a joy to learn from.
I'm going to be honest with you. Bobby has been talking about you for a long time. And I've been waiting to get my audience with the brother to just sit down and soak up the information. I just want to thank you personally for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share with us this wisdom. Please go out and support the book, Let's Go to Work. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to reintro the show and get into our topic, because he set up the topic. You know, the first wife pulled him back. The second wife pushed him forward. And on that note, So What will be back in 2.2. I'll holler in a second.
Hey, are you tired of those same old energy drinks with bad taste? Make a switch to Pitbull Energy Drink with a guaranteed no aftertaste. Pitbull offers more energy with ginseng and vitamins B6 and B12. With a ginger ale lemon lime flavor, Pitbull meets the consumer's demand for better tasting and healthier energy products with a guaranteed no aftertaste. Make a switch to Pitbull Energy Drink. Pitbull offers more energy with ginseng and vitamins B6 and B12. With a ginger ale lemon lime flavor, Pitbull meets the consumer's demand for better tasting and healthier energy products. For more information on Pitbull energy drinks, bars, and mixes, visit their website at hiphopbev.com. That's hiphopbev.com. Online orders available at hiphopbev.com.
You do have a mic. Ladies and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show back in the building. Are we looking at Margot Hudson?
We are looking at Margot.
Wow. Zomiti is rising back in the building. The So What Morning Show. Listen, we just got blessed. Y'all don't understand how 99 years old, let's go to work. This is what I'm going to do. Today's topic, how to cope. This is why I brought the brother in. He talked about his first wife and his second wife and the difference in their influence on him. How to cope when your spouse's delayed career aspirations and dreams become your financial nightmare.
Ouch.
Uh-oh. This is going to be ugly. 323-965-1600. You know what you got to do to participate. Get on your phone lines right now. I'm going to rattle off a bunch of questions, but before I even get to questions, I want to introduce everybody who's in the building right now. I'm going to start with the ladies. We have a female core of contributors to the conversation that's going to drop jewels on this topic. Relationships are very, very difficult, and if you don't have the skills to manage and get them cracking, you're going to be in trouble, regardless of what type of relationship it is, whether it's a marriage or a long-term intimate situation. If you don't have the tools and understanding for maintaining it, that's what it is. That's what I told my son.
Maintenance.
You're a manager of your life. You're a manager of your emotions. You're a manager of your anger. You're a manager of your money. You're a manager of your relationships. If you don't have the tools to effectively manage your life, you're in trouble.
That team's going to lose.
So here we go. Jasmine Diaz, what is the name of your specialized company and what is it that you do? Welcome back to the So What Morning Show. Jasmine.
Thank you for having me. My name is Jasmine Diaz. As you know, I am a matchmaker at Sean McKenzie Agency.
Wow. Sean McKenzie. It sounds like, what was that? Remington Steele.
Remington Steele.
Right?
Sean McKenzie, get your shit together.
So Jasmine Diaz is back, and she's going to be a great contributor to this conversation, as well as friend of the So What Morning Show, Margot Hudson. Margot, go deep into what is coming for you. Something is happening. Yes. What's happening? Direct those people there.
All right, everyone. My name is Margot Hudson, for those of you who don't know me. And my
trainer of Wonder Woman. Go deeper, Amazonian.
Yes, Destination Love Life is what I'm building, and DestinationLoveLife.com is coming soon. You can check out my YouTube page, Destination Love Life 2. And basically, I help people, I help enrich people's lives. I'm here to raise the vibratory frequency of humanity through helping people learn to heal, explore themselves, and just have happier lives, and also get their health together, sex life, everything, all the good stuff.
Sex.
And I know all the best products and stuff too.
Yes,
that helps.
you do.
You know what I mean? And all the best organizations to guide people to.
Great Hera.
6 feet.
Hey, good morning.
6 feet of caramel. Yes, God.
Just a giant stack of...
Ooh-wee. That's what I'm talking about. You walk in a room, I would love to. You know
guys
what?
are a mess.
I'm married, but you lucky. I would date your if you would go, I would put my clothes on and walk in somewhere with your tall, fine ass.
Sunshine.
Oh my God. Sweet Lord.
She's a 2-story babe. Now,
I might be wearing my heels today.
Yeah.
6'2", yeah.
Jesus. Oh, God. Welcome again to the So What Morning Show. Our team is in the building right now. Jeff Brown.
What's that mean?
Hey, first time late, but that's okay.
That's it, man. Once a trimester? I'm good with that.
Once a trimester.
Once a trimester.
Wonderful, wonderful Jeff Brown, comedian extraordinaire in the building. And of course, none other than Dr. Mark Goulston.
The man.
The man. Everybody loves it when Doc talks. I'm getting a lot of feedback. They say, he don't say much.
No.
But when he does speak,
He's the center.
You still don't say much.
well, no, you're in the 4 position. You're in the 4 position. You're in the cleanup.
You center, man. Do you watch basketball?
Well, I want to say something to link Leon to what we're doing now. I think the secret to Leon's success is he was a first-class noticer.
Uh-oh.
So he noticed what people want. Mm-hmm. And he noticed what people need, and he just said, well, why don't I just give it to them? I think one of the problems for a lot of relationships is we think we know what other people want when we really don't.
Wow.
We try and make them what we want, and we think we're being really kind and loving, but what we're really being is kind of greedy. So I think he was a great example of just notice what people want and what they care about and just give it to them, and you're going to be successful. And I think when we switch to this topic, it applies to that too.
Wow. And that's why I brought him in. That's why I set it up the way that I did. because this is a self-made man. This man built himself up, and he had
Third grade education.
a third grade education. Now listen. Let's just be honest. In today's society, a dude with a third grade education with a hell of a work ethic
Is behind bars lifting weights.
you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's not viewed by today's woman as a good catch. Why? Because the template says you need an education and you need a good job in order for me to even consider you. Am I lying?
No.
323-965-1600. This dude built himself. He's a self-architect. That's all I'm saying. 323-965-1600. How to cope when your spouses, husband or wife, because I get these calls. Man, my wife, man, it's just hard, dude. I'm trying to motivate her to do whoop-de-whoop. I'm trying to motivate her to blah, blah, blah.
Too late.
It's getting difficult, man, because I got to pay all the bills, and it's not, I mean, she's a good mom, but it's like I need more. We live in a society now. Back in Gar's day, one income was enough. Today, one income
You better be balling.
makes you low income. Somebody call us, 323-965-1600. Are you dealing with a spouse who's delayed? They got great idea after great idea, but it never comes to fruition. Why? Do they lack life skills in order to manifest these dreams? How does a spouse teach another spouse life skills? Is it possible? Is it their job? 323-965-1600. I've got questions. Does the vow for richer or for poorer have an expiration date? I'm going to tell you right now. You got a couple more good ideas that go bad, and I'm out.
And I'm going out.
I'm out on the supportive tip. How many husband and wife situations are going through this right now? Are your vows being tested by your spouse's lack of manifestation skills? And does that part come with? I don't want to go there. I'll stop. How does a couple cope when both spouses, right, are out of work? How do they continue to support each other? And what kind of stresses does that put on the marriage and the relationship? What's the best way to deal with an unemployed and depressed spouse? Because a lot of times where there's unemployment, there's also depression, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially, and who takes it harder? Is it easier for a wife to be unemployed than it is for a husband?
Depends on the wife.
Yeah, no, hey, don't give up the answers yet. This is lather time. Let's lather them. You know, the questions is the soap.
We ain't hit them with the rinse.
Don't hit them with the rinse.
I'm rinsing first. It's still dirt on it because I ain't putting no lime.
Do most spouses have an untold or silent timeline for how long they will deal with an unemployed and depressed spouse? You know, no, play the Jeopardy music. Bling, ding, 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 ding. Like, right. When the song goes off, pimp. Huh? Hey, this is tough. Is there a direct relationship between unemployment of a spouse, between the unemployment of a spouse and relationship dissatisfaction? Somebody talk to us. 323-965-1600, right? I have more questions, but I won't get into them now. I'm going to throw it to my panel. Let's go to Jasmine Diaz.
I knew I was a target.
Exactamundo.
You know what? This topic is really interesting to me because I was, a couple of years ago, that spouse that was unemployed, and my husband had to support me. Just to tell you a little bit about my backstory, as you all know, I'm a matchmaker, but at the time, before I became a professional matchmaker, working 100% full-time in matchmaking, I was working in a different industry, the entertainment industry to be specific. And during that time, I decided to kind of take a leap of faith in starting my own enterprise. And in doing that, I ended up leaving a really good job with really good money
wow.
to start my own business. And so there was a period where I really, and looking back, it was kind of a stupid choice, even though I'm very happy with where I am now. But there was a period where we didn't have enough income to support all of our responsibilities. I lost my car, both of them. I lost my house. And in the spirit of me making this decision to start my own business, my husband was really great at saying, you know what, this is the dream that you want to do, and this is a dream that you have. I'm going to support you despite the fact that we lost a lot.
Let me say this. I bet you got a lot of haters.
I'm sure I do.
I bet you got a lot of haters, because you know what happens? When people observe happiness and they recognize the lack of happiness within themselves and they see it in other people, they begin to hate. So when I look at you, I see that you have been blessed with someone who really invests in your soul.
Yeah.
And what happens is, in the difficult moment, you find out if you're married or dating a Richard Parker.
True.
Right? You find out if you're dating somebody who is not with you for what they claim to be with you for.
Yeah. In the hard times, I think when you go through financial difficulty, it shows you one or two things: whether you have the kind of relationship that can sustain it, or the kind of relationship that just can't.
Wow.
And I could tell you, for a good year or two of me just building business, and anybody who has been an entrepreneur kind of knows what this is like, to kind of be building on the ground up, to having a successful business. I could say that definitely there were those moments where I felt like I made a mistake. And so I was depressed. Maybe my husband didn't feel it quite the same way, because he's the type who really just likes to push you and support your dreams and your goals. But for me, I felt a lot of baggage with that decision. You know, losing everything makes you feel like, crap, what did I do?
Right.
But if you have a partner who is strong and firm and who they are, but can also be man or woman enough to support your goals, then you can really make it through anything.
Wow, great. Margot, go.
Yes, what would you like to know specifically?
Destination Love.
Destination Love. Okay, well, this is my take on it. I've actually been in both positions. I've been the woman that took care of a mate that was in a long-term relationship, and I also was in a marriage where my husband was supporting me to a point, but he was so busy trying to get his own business off the ground, and I was trying to kind of redirect myself from the modeling industry into what my true purpose was. So that was a bit of a confusing time. So I ended up getting out of that, and I actually ended up finding my real purpose. But along the way, I've had angels. I've had people assist me, and boy, do you need it. You do get depressed. You do doubt, like, am I doing the right thing? And you do need someone who is solid. So I can identify what you're saying.
But you said earlier on Twitter that it takes a certain type of chick.
Yes.
And it came across to me in a negative way. Now,
because of the question.
Should not a woman seek to support her man or take care of him when he's broke as a joke with dreams? Go deeper.
All right. Well, this is what I was referring to, because a man was saying, why do certain women just go after men who are just struggling all the time and who don't have this and that? There's a difference. There's a person who actually, like the man that I helped and put a lot of time, energy, and money into, he actually is building his career, building himself. He was doing something, and he paid that money back, most of it. I made sure he did. He probably wouldn't have if I wouldn't have pushed the issue. But the thing about it is that there's a certain type of man out there that this is how he lives. He lives because he needs to be taken care of by a woman. And a lot of women who are overbearing can transform their male children into this type of man.
So you've already told us that you were overbearing. Thank you. We appreciate that.
No, but overbearing
so
mothers.
Much for your honesty.
But listen, overbearing mothers can have a very powerful negative effect on men by making them very dependent on women, and they will seek out women to take care of them. Alpha females who actually need that type of blanket, they need to be able to take care of a man for some sort of
they feel alive when they're taken care of.
Because a lot of women don't feel powerful in their lives, self-empowerment.
That's interesting.
And,
it takes a certain type of chick, is what she said. Yes. Jackson from DC, you're on the line.
Great topic.
What's up,
I just want to say I really like the show. I just wanted to comment and say that sometimes I notice that, you see a lot of relationships where people have what I believe are kind of unnatural expectations on folks. And I think that a lot of times when it comes down to it, at the very core of who we are, men adopt this mindset in their nature that says they feel better about themselves when they are providing. At the same time, women on a certain level feel like their role is to kind of be provided for on a certain level. So I think that when women are taking care of men, they will do so out of the great graciousness of their heart. But there's a certain level of resentment that over time builds up because she doesn't feel like that's naturally what she should be doing. And I think that same kind of, inward pressure that men feel when they're not providing kind of manifests itself as well.
Yes,
I know
yes.
if I had a daughter and she wanted to marry a man who had dreams, I would say to be careful how you evaluate his dreams. Because everybody in this world is not going to make it to the end of the road with their dreams. You all live in Los Angeles where there are millions of people walking around with dreams, and they look up and they're 45, 50 years old, don't have a pot to piss in.
Wow.
So,
That's a great
and I
point.
think that at some point, if you want to give of your child or of a woman in your life who you are protective over, I know I would just be apprehensive about sending her off to be with somebody who's all you got is dreams.
Wow.
And I would tell her to certainly support that. But at some point, you can't bring more responsibility into your life when you're not fully taking care of yourself.
That's a great point.
Dreams you can't feed my baby or my grandchild or my daughter or my niece on dreams.
Wow.
And I think that for myself as a single man, if I had dreams of striking it rich in a way that I had to go down before I came up, I think I would rather wait till I came up before I took on the responsibility of caring for a woman.
Wow. Thanks for the call, man. We appreciate it. Jackson from D.C.
All right.
You brought D.C. into the building, 323-965-1600.
He brought up a real good point, and I'm thinking about one of the things that a lot of women drives women a lot crazy about men in a negative way is when they see that the man is not trying, when they see that the man can't learn from his mistake or admit them, and when the man kind of BS's himself. Not only tries to BS others, but BS's himself. And the problem is, those are very sensitive things to bring up. But I think that's, when a woman sees that, as long as you're trying and as long as you're learning and as long as you're not lying to yourself, I think women will be supportive. One of the problems is in order to learn, you have to admit that you made a mistake.
Wow.
And a lot of men cannot admit that they made a mistake. And by the way, one of the reasons for women, if you want to understand where we're coming from, one of the reasons we have trouble admitting that we're made a mistake about something is we often feel that if we're wrong about something, we're wrong about everything. And if we're wrong about everything, we ain't as good as the other man. And so there's a built-in self-protective thing. It's not like we're just being stubborn, but inside self-confidence and self-doubt, it's just a fine line, all of us guys.
Man, that is a great point. 323-965-1600. And Jeff Brown.
Number of things. One, I think something the caller brought up that was very important was, how do I tell my daughter or advise my daughter on this dude with dreams? And I think you have to evaluate dreams by the map to them and the work done on that road. If you got a dude that isn't present, I think that's the biggest deal.
If he's not present.
You got to be present, okay? What you had and what you want are both absent from right now. What are you doing right here and right now? And you can best believe, nigga, I'm adding up your right nows. And if they don't equal nothing, I'm going to give you 90 right nows. I don't need but 90.
I'm about to go deep.
Okay, go ahead.
First and foremost, at the end of the day, if you have a dream and it hasn't manifested, right? That means there is some disjointed kind of thing going on within you. You might have a blueprint, but you're not executing the blueprint to the letter. Okay. I always tell my son, whenever you take a shortcut, you cut yourself short, right? So a lot of times people are so focused on the end of the dream that they forget about the subtle nuance and detail that is associated with the journey to the dream. And the journey is really the dream. It's not the end destination. It's the journey. That's the dream. And I tell my son this all day in America. I say, listen, you're 16. You are a self-architect right now. We had a conversation today. I said, building yourself starts now. It doesn't start when you're 44. It's difficult as hell to start over when you're 44. Now, and I told him, I said, now, peep game. It's difficult doesn't mean it's impossible.
It's just difficult.
It's just harder. So what happens is when you start the process now, you'll find yourself like a Kobe Bryant or a Steve Jobs or a Bill Gates. You find yourself relatively young with a foundation of work behind you. You see, now you understand what leisure means. I'm young enough to go buy a ticket and go somewhere because I put the work in years ago, as opposed to having to do it right now.
That brings up a good point because, what we're talking about is credibility. And if you think of what credibility is, it's about having credit. And credit is about what you already got done, not what you can do or will do. It's what have you already got done that made a difference. Mm-hmm. And it's what Jeff said, and it's built on actually doing stuff and learning from what you're doing. But I think, and that's a very difficult thing to ask, but even in the business world or relationships, you have to say it in a sensitive way, but what have you already done that actually worked?
Wow.
And then how do you build on that? And if it didn't work, what did you learn? And that's a very sensitive thing. But that's a question we have to ask ourselves. Mm-hmm. We should do that every month. What have I already done that actually made a difference, or am I just, just a dream in the sky here?
But you know what? To go back to Leon T. Garr, I believe in the context of relationship, men come. Not to say women don't come with great ideas. Right? No, I'm not saying that. Men come with that idea in the context of relationship and using the metaphor of the battery with a woman being that manifesting element. T. Garr talked about his second wife pushing him in a way that compelled him and moved him in a direction to build even more. I charge and challenge that if your wife isn't investing in your soul and in your dreams, she's not using her power to help you. I believe that. Somebody disagree? Call me 323-965-1600.
Do you have a relationship with someone who says you can do anything versus someone who says it'll never happen?
No. Oh, well, you know what? I don't. Okay, let me, because now y'all knocking on my door. Let me explain something.
What happened? Somebody?
Okay, one.
Somebody didn't believe in you?
No.
You ain't even funny, Jeff.
Oh no. Worse than that.
It'll never happen, Jeff.
You're not going to make it.
Worse than that, brother.
What are you, Freddie Murphy?
Cause that's hilarious. I had a crew of people young, because I was trying to relive my mother's life. I was trying to rewrite her story with my life subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So I was just heaping in people, just putting people on my boat that had no intention of rowing. Just putting them in. Boy, you got a great job. You got benefits. They pay you X number of dollars an hour, and you're gonna leave that to tell jokes? You can't really.
You tripping?
Yes, and you cannot look at the devil don't come at you and go, "Hi, I'm the devil." That's not how it gets down. Okay, so it starts out, hell yeah. Then yeah, then maybe, then no, then
do something else.
Do something else with hell no, do something else in the brain at the front. But that's not what they're coming with at first.
But at some point, is hell no, do something else the right thing to say?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
At what point is it the right thing to say? And is that a dream killer?
Well, certain dreams need to just be dreams. Okay, if you know. I love mixed martial arts, but my 47-year-old ass sitting here with this baby up under this damn table is not finna start fighting in MMA. But if I went to my wife and said, you know what, damn this comedy, baby, I'm finna go to the gym because I want to be a mixed martial artist.
Herschel Walker did it. Wow, how come you can't?
Herschel Walker was 48 years old when he did what?
Herschel Walker is whooping people's ass right now in MMA.
So Zoe, I have to respond to what you said earlier when you said that people have a work behind them that they've already done, and to start something late. I feel like it's never too late for people. I want people out there to understand that you should definitely always go for your dreams. And if you have someone that supports you, it makes it better. But first of all, you have to have your own foundation and believe in yourself. It's about changing your mindset, because I think a lot of people who get older, they've been bumped and bruised through life, and they lose, hope, and they really might not believe that they really can do it. Right. So I think that that's what needs to change, and then you can actually start to manifest what's happening. what's going on. And actually, the more life experience you've had is actually that journey that you talk about. So even if you don't have any work experience specific in that particular job, you have a whole life experience that actually makes you more effective, and because you have more experience.
Right.
So you can prophesy certain things like, okay, if I go down this road, I already know that this.
But see, now you're getting spooky.
Yeah, okay.
Because a lot of people think that that's. Listen, the law of attraction is a fantasy for a lot of people.
I know.
That's not real.
That's why it don't work for
You
them.
hear people say stuff like, in the real world.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
The ancient Hindus has a word for the real world. The Sanskrit word is Maya, and it means illusion.
All right.
Most people think the illusion is the reality.
That's right. That thing
And
in
they
the back
don't
of the head.
right, and they don't understand that what you speak on a consistent basis, what you believe on a consistent basis, you have a responsibility as a co-creator to change the script.
Yes.
Even in a medical sense, doctor, talk about how depressed people view the world. Do they not see that the world is against them in every situation? Talk to me, doc.
Henry Ford said, if you think you can,
Bam.
and you think you can't, you're right.
See, I also think that this is what Jeff was saying, and a really important thing to have a spouse who also supports you, because we're talking about relationships here. And I think that, when you have someone who says that you can't do something, and this just goes for anything in life, even if it's your parents that tell you you're not capable of achieving a goal, I think that puts a damper on the spirit, so to speak.
How does it make you feel to hear the words coming out of the mouth of the person that is the closest to you, the most intimate with you, to say, this ain't gonna work? I ain't gonna be able to ride this boat too much longer. Jeff Brown.
Okay. I first off, your mate, you will not make it in spite of your mate. You will pass or fail because of your mate, and you have to be clear with that. Now, this thing about speaking, and I don't think you can do it, and it can't be done.
You ain't.
That is not nearly as poisonous as the individual subconsciously thinking it and working in that area.
Amen.
Ain't nobody been around me for a half an hour and said I wasn't funny. That was not the problem. The problem was this: we live where the earth curves. We live in San Bernardino. I need to be in LA. Let's move. It ain't about how funny you are. That's part of the plan. Are you down with that part of the plan? Are you down with what it takes to make? Here are the 46 steps it takes. If you got a problem with 28, 37, and 9, you need to tell me. If not, you can't be I'm down with this and on the phone with your mama. I don't know.
What if your career is one of the steps in your partner's agenda?
Youch.
Ooh, huh?
Youch.
You succeeding is one of the steps in my agenda.
Wow.
And now your career is on a timeline for me.
What I'm finna do.
For what I want to do.
I can't be waiting behind the velvet rope that long.
Because there are others out there who can manifest what I desire. 323-965-69. Who's doing that?
I want to give
Life number 2.
Let me give a tip for women who want to kind of motivate their guy, but you want him to be realistic. Because realistic is what's likely to happen, but you don't want to be a downer. So one of the ways to do that is you say you got
women not being a downer.
Well, I'm on a roll of logic, so don't stop me. Okay, I'm stopped.
No,
okay, next.
No, you have a lot of women.
I think what would be really helpful to a guy, and I don't think many of them will resent it. You could say, for you to be successful, who are the people that really have to buy you and buy into you? I mean, that would be a fair question. That would help me. If someone said, Mark, if you want to be successful, who are the people that have to buy into you and have to, buy what you have? Well, that'd be a good question. And a friend of mine who is a marketing expert, he said, the most important question you have to ask yourself if you want to be successful is think of those people that need to buy into you, and they're asking themselves, why you? And then if you can start answering that, and what he made a big point. He said, in this world, being better doesn't work. You have to be different because everyone says they're better. But I think if you helped your man, say, look, what has to, for you to be successful, who has to believe, buy, support you? Okay. And if they're thinking, why you? I think that can sometimes help that person think through, oh, that's a good question.
Wow.
And then you're working together. Because a lot of times I think that the sad thing about most relationships is down deep. People want to be supportive, but by the time it comes out of their mouth, it's criticism. Well, I'm just trying to make you a better person. But down deep, we wake up every morning saying, how can I tear my partner down so at the end of the day they wish they weren't with me?
So you can't be supportive if you're a relationship weatherproofer. If you're always walking around the structure of your partner looking for what's wrong, you can't be in a space of support.
There's something
Go in, Jasmine.
that Mark said earlier that was really important about the definition of try. Like sometimes in relationships that it seems like the other person isn't trying enough, but I think that different people, men and women, have a different definition of trying. Women,
please give us that,
may try in a different way. We might be a little bit more proactive. We might line up or organize ourselves a little bit differently than men do.
I just filled out this application.
Right.
And then I called my uncle who works at Whoop-de-Whoop. And then where a guy might be sitting back strategizing in his mind.
And for him, he may be trying. And for her, she may be feeling as though he's not trying hard enough.
You're not doing what I'm doing, so in my mind, you're not trying.
And I dealt with the man that I was taking care of. It was the same situation. He was saying that, I'm trying, and I was very patient with him through the process. I feel like I was very supportive, and I feel like women can do a lot more than, a lot of times women can fall into this criticism. The doctor was
Margot, you made an investment. You made him pay you back.
But yes, I did.
Yeah.
But it was important that he did
Margot's
that. Margot's
a relationship banker.
But it was very important that he paid me back because it was about him becoming more responsible as a man as well. So in a sense, I was helping enrich his life by growing him into a better man.
So you were his mama.
I invested.
Not his woman.
I did because that's what happened. Now here's the next thing. When a woman starts paying for a man and starts investing in him financially, then she does, in a sense, psychologically, she becomes the mother. He becomes more irresponsible with his behavior sometimes because he knows that she's going to have his back.
That depends on the man, and that depends on the woman.
But this happens psychologically over time. It's just something that it's a human.
Not in a blanket license.
Not all over everybody, but in a lot of situations, it's something that's very.
You all just triggered something I never thought about. I want to throw this out at all of you.
Throw it out.
Do you think men have a greater fear of failure than women?
Ooh. Oh yeah, those egos.
Because I think for a lot of men, they kind of are what they do, and if they fail, they're incompetent. If they're incompetent, they're unworthy. And a lot of times, you don't try if you think that if I try is not going to be successful, and if I've had a whole string of trying that hasn't been successful, I'm going to kind of bunker down. Whereas I think, women, women will tell me, look, we're not saints, but the fear of failure doesn't, it doesn't stop us. We don't think about failure as success. We just think about responsibilities. If we felt about failure and our kid is screaming at us in the middle of 7-Eleven and humiliating us, we're not going to leave the kid. We're not going to leave the kid there. We're used to being humiliated every day.
Listen,
so we learn to live with it.
So this is a great point, right? This is an excellent question. Doc, state the question one more time, and then we're going to break, and when we come back, we're going to deal with the question, everybody on the panel.
Do you think men have a greater fear of failure than women? And if so, how does that affect their relationships with women?
We'll be back at 2.2. This is the So What Morning Show. Having a great topic, great guest. It's going down. I'll be back at 2.2. Holla!
I don't need no words. Fly like the birds.
Yeah, you need words. I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, back in the building. So what?
Yeah, Jeff, you're going to need words.
The So What show is off the chain right now. The doc hit us upside the dome piece with a very powerful question, and we're going to run it right back. If you're just tuning in, today's topic, has the delayed career aspirations and dreams of your spouse, have they become your financial nightmare and burden as a spouse? Are you tired of carrying dream after dream after dream and not seeing anything come to fruition? And when do you tell your partner, and how do you tell your partner, I'm done supporting the cockamamie-ness of your dreams, right? I'm tired of it, right? How do you do it?
This ostrich farm tears it. That's it. Crazy bastard.
And let's go right into Jasmine Diaz. Diaz, answer the question that the doctor posed before break.
I think that at some point there comes a time when you have to realize that maybe the dream that you have doesn't really work out for you. And I think that also, just touching a little bit more on what Mark was asking more specifically, whether men or women differ in that area. I think that women tend to take on ambition and drive and goals a little bit differently. I know that from experience, my husband and I have had this conversation about his desires to be an entrepreneur and doing his own dream. And for him, he felt like the fear factor was a very important element that stopped him from really pursuing things. So I don't know that this is a particular area where all men feel like they're apprehensive, but I do notice that with women we tend to be a little bit more forward thinking, perhaps a little bit less scared or afraid of doing certain things, but that's not to say that there aren't men that haven't achieved certain goals because of those.
Margot.
Yes, well, I do believe, I agree with what you're saying, that basically women and men do approach the dream process and their goals a little bit differently. Men and women's minds think a little bit differently. Women, integrate a lot of different, we're going back and forth, left to right brain constantly. Men stay generally mostly on one side, not all the time, but you know what I mean. So I think that when it comes to the dream situation, as far as being in a relationship and you are taking care of that person, there is going to come a time, and it does get heavy, because I've done it, and there's a certain level of frustration that comes with this. And I think that you should be diplomatic about how you approach the man, because men do have, you have to understand the species of man. Men are sensitive.
When you say diplomatic, give us an example of an undiplomatic woman.
Undiplomatic is criticizing him and breaking him down so that he really won't have the
we
energy,
know it's criticizing and breaking down. Give us do we have something that's insensitive? What is one of the famous words that a woman would say? Because I know there's some men out there who know.
Okay, well, minimizing what he does to that little thing or project that he's doing, or your next, instead of saying that it's giving it some value, a woman can really take the value away from what a man's doing.
You mean like, I gotta wear the pants and the dress up in this piece?
Yeah, or I'm more man than you. I've heard this a few times from different people, different men.
What's a real tough thing is when the woman says, so why are you going to that thing again? Because you got to psych yourself up. You're trying to motivate yourself to have your game face, and they may just think, well, I just want you to be realistic. So why are you going out to meet so and so again? What's that about? And it's like, and a lot of times you don't have an answer. Well, I'm hoping to lead to something. Well, you've been hoping to lead to something for years.
And supportive would be basically instead of saying that thing would be to be like, honey, so where you going tonight? Are you guys? So support him. Ask questions about it. I think a lot of times couples are in relationships and they're on automatic. They don't even check in with each other to find out what's going on with what's going on and really care from a genuine place.
Yeah.
And that's important.
And sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it too. Because I think it's important to be honest with your mate.
Please go deeper into that. I want you to go into, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Please go deeper.
It is.
Why is that important?
I think it's important because everyone needs truth and honesty. You know, I think that sometimes when you're in the dream stage and you're in the building process in a relationship, that there are areas where you may be very single-minded and single-focused. And sometimes it takes an outside party realizing, okay, this is maybe something that you could do better. This could be something that you could work on towards this goal rather than just strictly criticizing. And I think that really comes down to delivery.
Wow. Who's more? Go
there's,
ahead, Doc.
there's a principle that I suggest to people, and it's called focus on the future that no one has screwed up yet. As opposed to bringing up something that's already happened, because as soon as it's already happened, you're just going to get into a debate, a fight. No one actually wins those things. So one of the ways you can do that, and it's building on what Jasmine said, I think if you say to the guy, but you have to say this in a calm thing, if you say going forward, you know, if I happen to see that you're about to do something or you're doing something that might not work out the way you'd like it to, how do you want me to be with you? And then when the guy says whatever it is, what's really important is to say, I want to make sure that I got this exactly. So repeat exactly what they said and wait for a yes. Because what you're saying is, you know, the last thing I want to do is rain on your parade, get into an argument, you know, sleep in separate bedrooms. So is what you're saying is that if I see you're about to do something that might hurt you, hurt your dreams, you're saying the best way to do it is such and such.
Wow. So
say it back to them.
let's do it this way.
And that's a way to empower. I love that.
No. Hold tight, Jeff.
Who wants some
Jeff?
coffee?
Jeff, you hold tight. You're right after this point. Doc, remember that statement you made on Oprah about being able to stand up, stand for, and stand in protection of. Remember that? Please talk to that, speak to that, because a lot of times people don't understand how important that is. Being able to stand up to your partner in private. How did you break that down, those three things?
Yeah, years ago, I was on Oprah, and I've done many things in my life. I've trained hostage negotiators, be on CNN when there'd be shootings and things like that. But one of the things I did years ago, and I was on Oprah, The Today Show, New York Times, was I was an expert in helping divorced couples get back together again when they wanted to. And so I sort of went on the circuit there, and I was on Oprah. And so she asked a question. It's actually on YouTube. If you put on my last name, Goulston and Oprah, you'll see it. It's so old. It's just the audio.
Yeah, his hair is colored back then.
Yeah, well, no, you actually won't see us because the video is bad. But and she asked me, for those couples going the first time around, because what was interesting about this show is, I got to tell just a slight story about stage fright, because
Tangent, yeah.
It was one of my first shows I'd ever been on.
A filibuster.
Like this, and so I was looking out at the audience, and I thought, oh, they're here. They're just going to judge me. They're just going to say, oh, this, the psychiatrist here is going to be full of himself. He's going to pontificate. And so I'm looking out at the audience, and they're really looking at me sternly. And I thought, oh.
Just throwing dirt on the future.
So imagine this. So this is how you change the way you look at the world. So I'm thinking, they just want to see me make a fool out of myself, because that was some of my inner dialogue. And the person who was putting the mic on said, Dr. Mark, everyone in the audience today is divorced and unhappy about it. So I said, what? And they said, yeah. And so I looked at the audience and I said, my God, they're looking at me to help them.
Right.
And so it just changed. I totally relaxed. So instead of thinking they're there to judge me, they wanted something. So at the end, if you did well in those days, she gave you the lightning round at the end. So when they're rolling the credits, they ask you instead of other people. So she said, for people going the first time around, what is some of the things you can do to prevent this from happening? So so something I said is be yourself as soon as you can in the relationship and get them to be themselves, because why would you want to be with someone who doesn't like you for you? So everyone applauded, and I got pumped up. And then I think the last thing I said was, which Zoe's referring to, is stand up for your partner in public, stand by them in a crisis and don't shame them, and stand up to them in private to make them better.
Wow.
All right.
Stand up to them in private. Stand up for them when?
In crisis.
Stand up for them in public, and when they can't stand up for them, stand by them in a crisis, but stand up to them in private to make them better.
Jeff Brown.
I got a pile of stuff, actually.
Okay, go ahead. There's your pile.
Okay. There's no Swahili word for try or do. You either
deeper.
do or you don't.
Try?
Yeah, try. I should.
There is no try.
You did it.
Do or do not?
Do you must. Fuck around, do not.
You were doing well. Okay. For those syndicators listening, forget about it.
Oh, okay, we on that page? All right. Okay, anyway. Men
He
fear...
wasted his sport coat.
That's hilarious. That's a wear. That's a wear. You only get so many wears you get for this cleaner.
Go ahead, man.
Men fear failure. Women fear rejection, and I think they're different. I have a problem with the word dream. Okay? I have hundreds of those a night. Some of them involve snakes. Some of them involve Tina Turner. Some of them, I have dreams. Those are dreams.
Wait,
Okay?
hold on. I have to interrupt you. Sorry. That is an inaccurate statement. The word for try in Swahili is jaribu.
Okay, well, you're right. I'm wrong, but mine sounded better. Now,
Well, and there we have it. Right.
there you have it.
We
There
never
you have
let facts stand in the way of truth.
Yeah, I don't let facts
Jesus,
stand
right.
in the way of a great story, whoever that is. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
What's
the melody, man? Keep going. Shit, you know.
Let me Google Swahili for. Anyway, I have a problem with the word drink. Yeah, like you just knew that. Okay. Anyway,
I was born in Kenya many years ago. You lie.
many years ago.
Go deep.
Okay.
You run marathon.
Oh, damn.
Doctor. That's it. Do you run a marathon? No. That's hilarious. Okay. I have a problem with the word dream. Everybody just, I'm dreaming about this. Dude, you need to put your dreams to a timetable. That's how we can gauge what you're doing. If you take what you want to do in 5 years, divide that by 5, divide that by 12, and divide that by 4, you get what you're supposed to have done this week. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
If I want to be X, and X takes 5 years, well, the first year is what? The second year is what? The third, and so on. If you're not doing that, if you do that, you and your woman can look right at a page and go, let's see here. You're supposed to make 100 phone calls this week. That's 20 a day.
Yeah.
Not counting Saturday and Sunday. Who'd you call? Simple as that.
Goals.
Goals. Just as, yes, turn green, damn your dreams. You need some goals.
But listen, at the end of the day, everybody has goals.
Yeah.
And this is something that comes with the creation of goals and dreams. There's a real reality that it won't work. And you shouldn't judge yourself based off of accomplishing a goal or a dream. Because what happens is if you didn't do it, you're a failure. No, it just didn't work. How about it?
I vehemently disagree.
Let's move on to the next thing. No, listen. There are 32 teams in the NBA, I think.
Yes.
And 2 teams have the most championships.
Okay.
The Lakers and the Celtics. What about the Bobcats? What about the Kings? What about the Charlotte whoever?
Is that
the point that I'm making is not that they don't aspire to win titles. I mean, the Knicks haven't won a title since 73.
Okay.
So the point that I'm making is, at the end of the day, you can only do your best. And in doing your best, it's just like raising your child. I'd be pissed if my son didn't do his best and he got a 3.5.
Absolutely.
But if he did his best and he got a 2.9, I'd be happy because I know he's invested, he's present, he's doing his best. What happens in relationship, we judge the quality of the relationship based on the accomplishments.
This is true.
Accomplishments are a reflection of who you are. They are not what you are. That's what I try to keep in mind.
Ooh-wee.
Go deeper.
2.9. Okay, let's go back to 2.9 being your best. I'm a firm believer that the Creator put us on the earth with a 4.0 in something.
I
and
agree.
it's a 4.0 in different for Mark, different for me.
Might not be in homework,
Relative.
though. It's relative,
It might not
though.
be in homework, but that's my point. To say that if my son got a 2.9 and that's his best, that I would be disappointed. Of course not. But what I need to find is where his 4.0 is, and that's where he needs to be
It
matched.
might be in pottery.
Then he need to be matching in pottery. he needs to be in pottery. Second, to say that because the Knicks don't have a ring, that somehow diminishes the concept of goal. If you follow that role, you have.
But what I'm saying is the 32 teams start off with the goal
They all
of
want to
winning
win.
a title.
Yeah.
I got a Whitey Locks stupid question of the
Go
day.
deeper, Whitey Locks.
I need your help with this, because all of you, because I get confused about this thing about doing your best. Personally, I always think I could do things better, even at my best.
Absolutely.
So I don't even. It eats away at me. If someone say to me, "Well, all you can do is your best," I start going into, yeah, but I don't know if I did my best. I mean, I was exhausted, but maybe I wasn't thinking well, and I didn't focus on this. But I would love some clarity on that, because you hear that and you say that to your kid. All you can do is your best. I don't even know what my best is. To me, it's just this side of a heart attack.
Right. And you know what? That is such a great point. That is such a great.
Hilarious.
I mean, you don't understand how great a point that is. There was this vector. Whenever a vector is crossed, a threshold, you create a new potentiality. For many, many years, people thought you couldn't run a mile in 4 minutes. It was one person who did it, and once he did it, everybody started doing it. But the point is, there has to be support in the belief that it can be done.
Yes, and it starts within.
You see what I'm saying? When you're with somebody who is starting to look like a giant stopwatch or an hourglass.
Stop sign.
And the sand in it is contingent upon you reaching your goal for their benefit, now we're in trouble. How many times do we have that person who gives up on their partner, who leaves because that partner hasn't fulfilled something in their desire?
You can't control that, though.
Listen, when you have somebody who is really invested in the soul of you, they are supportive of you regardless of the manifestation of the goal or not.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. We got so many people who judge their relationship off of what we've accomplished that we lose sight that relationship means to relate.
Okay, I'm a bust if I don't say
I'm
that.
just saying. Don't bust.
Okay.
Because it's really nasty.
You are
Shit.
Though I think the people we are discussing, or the person in my mind, is the individual who misuses the currency of your spouse's belief.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
All
That's
right.
who I'm talking about.
There we go.
I'm not talking about janky spouses. I've had a couple of those.
Let's go into it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Number one, the first one, we were just too young. We didn't have no business messing each other's lives up that young. Number two fits exactly what you was talking about. You finna do this because I want to be over there. Okay?
Right.
I get that. What I'm discussing is I really do not believe that it is possible to do the right thing over a protracted period of time and not get any measurable results.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying sometimes, even when it is executed perfectly, even when you've done all you can do, even when everything appears to be sound, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, crap happens. I believe that.
Sometimes it's like that. But if the relationship breaks down because of that, you're with a Richard Parker.
Okay, I'll give
That's what I'm saying. Jay Nasty, line one. Go deeper.
What's good to everybody? I mean,
What's happening, man?
but I just want to speak on this because it really hits close to home. When I was in the military, my wife held down the fort, and once I got my honorable discharge, got out, came back home. I was clinically diagnosed with PTSD. I didn't feel that way, but now that I look back on it, I was. So I'm sitting around the house just not doing shit. Wifey taking care of and handling all obligations and shit like that. And she didn't even give me an ultimatum. She didn't come at me disrespectfully or anything like that. Even though I got a little upset, she was like, yo, shape up or ship out. What do you want to do?
Wow.
Pretty much. Like, get your shit together because you're a strong African-American male. And basically, you're not being that for your kids right now with them seeing you depressed and all that other good shit. I actually took that to heart. And yeah, I did lose a few tears on that, just thinking about everything that's been going on. I said, you know what? I've been a strong motherfucker for the military. I've been a strong motherfucker for my family in the past. It's time to just shape the fuck up.
Wow.
Because I ain't shipping out nowhere.
Wow.
And that's what I've done. I've held my wife down, held my family down ever since then. And I'm talking about 100%. She actually, while I'm in the military, I'm out there fighting in Afghanistan and Kuwait, things like that. She has so many ideas and put together as far as, let's do this. Because my wife is an author, so she has her books out there, making money in, things of that nature, and she's also a domestic goddess. And
wow. Okay.
Since then, our companies have grown so much. I just closed a huge deal because of her, just giving me that pep talk back in the day to just grow the fuck up and man the fuck up. And this year alone, my projected goal is $1.8 million.
Oh, don't tell all your business, Jay Nasty, because I will call you and ask for a loan this evening.
Oh, you already know, man. You my mentor, so I got you, man.
Oh, Jesus, I'm asking for money right now.
Oh yeah, you need to text. You need to text
Jay, this is the doc. I think.
But I just do want to say though. I mean, there's a lot of positive females that's out here that will hold their man down, and I respect them. And, baby, you know who you are. I'm not going to shout your name out, but I love you to death, and I appreciate everything that has been done. I appreciate for God for blessing you and actually steering you in my direction.
Come on, man.
Wow.
To actually help me out.
Hey, Jay Nasty, the doctor wants to ask you a question.
Hey, Jay, as I listen to this, because I think I think she deserves a big thank you for that. I think I'm asking you as the recipient of her saying you were acting a bit like a victim. As a recipient of that, I think it worked because I think she loves you, believes in you, and you're acting like a victim, which is different than a woman saying to you, you are a loser. And so it's a whole different thing when you feel the person believes in you and loves you, and that gives them the right to say, you are acting this way and it's not working, which is different than a spouse who just pulls your heart out and say, ain't nothing good about you, you're a loser. Being with you is the biggest mistake I ever made. So is any of that true, that you felt she loved you and believed in you and she earned the right to give you your comeuppance?
Exactly. But the thing is, I guarantee you, if I would have waited longer and I just would have kept going down that downward spiral, then I would have become the loser. I would have had that loser talk. She would have been like, yo, Famo, you ain't shit. You ain't going to be shit. Get the fuck out. But because I actually, I was in, a certain mind state, and I got out of that mind state because I'm thinking about it. I'm like, look, yo, I'm raising two beautiful girls. And what does it look like to have, it don't need to be a house full of women. You know what I'm saying? They need a positive male figure that's going to be a protector, a doer in this household.
Wow.
Not a fourth female in here. I might as well just get castrated.
Wow.
So,
hey.
I appreciate everything that was said, that was done, all that other good shit. And shout out to Young LA for calling me a pussy. It is what it is, fat boy. But
whoa,
hey, that ain't what he did. He said you getting something tonight is what I'm reading.
That's what he said. Yeah, he said you're getting something.
Oh, getting pussy. Oh, my bad. All
right, so take it easy. See, look at you. See, the PTSD is spiking.
A lot of men will not say that about their woman, even though if they're the women is like a real strong, backbone for a lot of men. And men will not actually give credit where credit is due.
Wow. Hey, great point, man. I thank you for that. Thanks, Jay Nasty. But let me just say this. If you're in a relationship with anybody, it is your job to support and help manifest the dreams of each other.
Absolutely. Yes.
If you're not a co-creator in the dreams of the relationship, you're baggage. You're a problem. You're a hindrance. You're an obstacle to your own happiness. And what happens is, I'm not here to save you from yourself. Okay? This is why I tell women, don't date potential. Don't date a concept. Don't date an idea. Date a real person. Connect. Go deep and really find why you relate. Don't look at, this might be a way that I don't have to deal with A, B, C, D, E, F, G on to Z. No, if you do that in your relationship, you're going to find yourself unhappy because no external accumulation can bring you internal peace and happiness. And that is the problem in most relationships. I'm going to tie my hitch or my baggage on to him because I believe he's going somewhere, and vice versa, right? That's how you get in trouble in relationships. Your job is to co-create the beliefs of each other, is to co-create the dreams of each other. And if you can't do that, and if you're not mature enough to do that, stay by yourself until you figure out and untangle your own knots. Jeff Brown.
Wow. All right, big sermon.
I got a tip. Can I throw a tip
I
out
wanted
there?
to talk about something too.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'll wait
Let's hear from the ladies. We've just been going on and on. We're going on and on.
When you have a thought, and you want to say it before it's your turn, wait for Jeff's turn. So that's what you do. Just wait till it's Jeff's turn.
Wait for Jeff's turn. Okay,
And then
Jeff.
say my thought okay, anyway.
Come on, Jeff.
Go on, Jeff.
That is what is so important about choice. I think people jump out there too fast. You jump out there, that's the Playboy Bunny. People jump out there too fast. Okay, this is what is required of you when you are with a mate. You have to give them everything. Watch out who it is you decide to give everything, because they may not deserve everything. You may not have everything to give. Yes.
Jeff, I'm with you.
That's
100%, and I want you to finish this thought. But sometimes people don't even know what they have to give, and then they are lost. They don't even know that they got something else. And maybe you're in that relationship so you can find what else it is you have to give. Because if you're not a giver in the relationship, you're a taker.
That's it.
Go deeper, Jeff.
Okay, well, you made me forget my thought. Huh?
No, I didn't.
He just said go deep. You're a deep person.
I'm not going to waste no weed around you. Mess my mind up while I'm high.
You're just defenseless against a compliment.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I am. No, you can't. People don't. I see it
Just
all
get
the time.
pissed, Jeff. Get pissed.
I see it all the damn
Let me
time.
give you some space.
Okay. I'm in over my head after 6 months, a year. Wait a minute. I got to do what?
Yes.
You believe what?
Yes.
Whoa, wait a minute. It was all cute when you told me that you was going to be a rapper, and I saw you at that open mic, and you tore it down, but now we got to pay to put out all your demos? What? You going to be on YouTube how long? You using my computer.
You do know you 37.
You 37 years old. What you talking about throwing your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care? You ain't Method Man. What you do? Yeah.
You don't even have a method, man.
Right. You don't have a method, comma, man, period.
Jesus.
So you better take back that compliment.
Just saying that.
Hey, do some spouses...
But Margot they had stuff to say.
I'm not going to
Thank you,
leave. I'm not
doctor.
going to leave Margot. I already know.
Okay.
Do some spouses use manipulation and shame as a motivation for their partners to get some type of hustle going? Now, Margot, answer what we were talking about before, and we'll go into that question.
Okay. Well, what we were talking about before, what you just addressed just now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do think that some people do this, and I think that it depends on what you learn about communication between men and women when you grew up in your household, whether there was a lack of communication or whether there was somebody is attacking, because a lot of times people resort to that when they don't have the communication or relationship skills.
Right.
So, yes, I think that definitely does happen. It's not healthy
Right.
in any way. But I also think that what I was going to say earlier is we keep talking about support. How do you be supportive? And a lot of women really, they might not know any other way how to support. And I think that if you're going to support, I think that since our minds work a little bit different and we'll do more research and stuff, I think that women should use their natural abilities to assist their
What do you
male.
mean?
Use your powers for good.
Use your powers for good instead of tearing the man down or because you're upset or you're not getting what you think that you need at that time. I think it's important for people to, if a woman sees a man is in the music industry, then go online and do some research. Maybe he needs to send a letter over to an A&R or somebody like that.
But wouldn't it be a fair assessment that any couple, especially in Hollywood, that's black, seeing that only 2% of black Hollywood is working at any given moment, that means 98% of black Hollywood is out of work. So wouldn't it stand to reason that you would have to pull back some of your expectations if you dating a hostess? Or if you dating a comedian, or if you're dating a singer, a producer, a writer, maybe even a radio personality, wouldn't it stand to reason that, hey, a lot of groundwork, a lot of, grunt work got to get put in. And there are no guarantees that these things may manifest.
That's where you have to only give what you can afford to give. A lot of times earlier you said give everything you have. I disagree with giving everything
The
you
doc
have.
say, hey, you got to give everything you have. I agree.
You can't. I'm saying just give
Because
everything.
if you're not giving everything, Margot, and you with me, you selfish. Margot's selfish. She already charged her boyfriend. She charged him. She said it earlier. He had to pay her back.
Listen. Because if you are not taken care of, then you can't help anybody. If you don't, just like even on an airplane,
hell no.
Wait a minute. What did you think I meant by
oxygen
everything?
first.
What did you think
Margot's gonna jump out the plane. She gonna steal the last parachute. She gonna leave everybody in that mug.
Yeah.
No, listen.
Kids too. You already been to heaven, baby. You just going back.
No, you have to be Jeff. Oh my God.
Say hi to my Aunt Aretha.
But you don't have anything to give. You don't have anything to give if you are not yourself nourished. So you have to nourish yourself, and you should only give what you can afford to give. I think when people give everything they have, and then that's when you got people wanting to commit suicide. They didn't give everything. They don't have. They couldn't afford to give what they did give.
But isn't that the vector? Isn't that the threshold?
Margot.
Yes.
Maybe we need to redefine it. Okay, I'm not going to even ask no open-ended question. Here's what I mean when I say everything. Okay, everything of me when I give to my wife is when she says X is my goal.
Okay.
Here are my pluses. Gift of gab, fair intelligence, write the hell out of a letter, know some dudes with a foot over on the other side of the law. This is what I give to you, and I don't hold none of that back.
And you shouldn't.
Okay, when you're talking about money, yeah, we gotta eat. But I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about you can do it.
Here's
mean what you need.
Other currencies.
Oh, yes, other currencies. Okay. We got to stay up all night. I'm supposed to be going to work at 7. But you know what? I'm going to stay up with you.
That's right.
Till 5, get to work and sleep in the bathroom because I'm down with you.
I don't want to
That's
mention
everything.
And I don't want to mention my ex-girlfriend, but I'm going to right now. A currency, in a supportive currency. She's going for her paralegal situation, degree or whatever, a certificate or whatever at UCLA. Part of my support is I'm reading her textbooks to her because that's how she remembers the information. So she has to hear it read. And of course I read speed reader or, I read. So I'm reading it in the voice and she's taking notes, mental notes. And,
I love that.
But that's how you support.
Yes.
Right?
By acting.
This is part of your movement. And that's co-creation going on right there.
You have no desire to be a paralegal.
None.
This information that the brain space that this is taking up has nothing to do with what Zoe needs or wants.
Right.
That's when you're giving everything. When what you want to do don't have a damn thing to do with what I want to do, but you want it, I love you, so let's get it.
All right, let's go to the next caller. Right. Soul Wonder, you're on. Talk.
What's going on, Zoe?
What's happening, man?
Jeff, the doctor, and everybody else. How y'all doing today?
Good. What's on your mind?
Hey.
I think, let me tell you about my situation. I'm a producer. As y'all might know, do music. I also in school for network administration and internet security. So I've been in school, and I don't work. Mind you. But I'm former military, so I get a check every month. So, but when it comes to my homework and stuff like that, my wife is going to be sitting there with me, going over my math and all that stuff like I was one of the kids. My wife, she's in logistics, but she does cakes. She does designer cakes. She plans for parties and stuff like that. Now, I don't have no interest in that, but guess what? I'm right there with her, helping her go over some of the schemes,
Use a
helping
cake
her with some of the drawings and stuff like that. For us to get that kind of support out of each other, we have a strong base. And this goes to a question that Zoe asked on Facebook about relationships and stuff like that. But we have a strong base. We have a strong foundation. So our foundation is strong, so she could be kind of shoot to the moon. I'm going to help her to try to find out how to do it, and vice versa. I think that's what it is.
Right.
Strong base foundation.
Man, that's a great call. Thank you, Soul Wonder. We appreciate it. Thanks again.
There's something to
Who's
be said
next?
about.
Wait, one more caller. Who's next? The Music Man. Holler at me. You're on the line. Go deeper.
Hey, what's up, Zoe?
What's
hey,
happening?
how you doing, Jeff Brown, man?
What's
I
up, brother?
appreciate you guys' show. And kudos to the sexy lady with the locks. I wish more black women would do their hair like that.
Woo!
The
Say that
natural
again.
style.
Repeat that. Repeat that.
Thank you.
But anyways, I'm not trying to get off the subject, but
you did.
I want
It's
to go
fine.
back to something that you had said earlier, and also on one of your earlier shows. People need to learn how to be by themselves.
Amen.
Yes.
Why can't you know what? With the black community, what we do is we leave our mother's house at 18
Yeah.
to get into the relationship to get out of her house, but you still ain't by yourself. That's not independency. And black people, we never take the time out to really just live by ourselves,
And
get to
some
know us,
independency.
and get to know bills and how to manage money and things of that nature before we jump in a relationship. And sometimes we jump in unorganized. We don't know how to even organize our own lives.
Hey, you know what? The Music Man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this, because you just brought up a great point. To me, it's about self-management more than anything else.
Right.
It's about self-management. And most people can't manage by themselves.
You're right. You're right, though.
They need to be in a relationship to further cover what they need to be working on internally.
Right.
And they don't understand that being in a relationship only exacerbates the need to go back inside. I'm just saying. Man, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. We
No
got to
problem.
take a quick break. But when we come back, what are some of the most insulting unemployment slurs ever thrown in an argument, marriage, or relationship? The So What Morning Show. Be back in a hot, quick second. We'll be back. 323-965-1600. Call us. Ladies and gentlemen, hot monkey knuckle beats.
Oh,
jeez,
dude, that beat right there. Let me tell you something. If my ex-wife boyfriend ever put his hands on my kids,
that's the music.
That's the music I'm gonna listen to on the way over to his house.
Woo! Woo! Hey, I asked questions before I left. Let me just rattle off a couple more questions. How do your beliefs about gender roles exacerbate unemployment and anxiety within intimate relationships and marriage? Do some spouses use manipulation and shame as a motivation for their partners to get up and get some type of hustle going? And what are some of the most insulting unemployment slurs ever thrown in an argument, marriage, or relationship? True or false? Whomever makes the most money in the relationship is the de facto ruler, tyrant, dictator of the relationship? I don't know. Somebody call me at 323-965-1600. It's what we're doing. Today's topic, if you're just tuning in, it's been a heater. It's been a hot conversation back and forth. How to cope when your spouse's, husband or wife, delayed career aspirations and dreams become your financial nightmare when you got to foot the bill for, my man Leon T. Gar told us he started at 7 in the wagon making business. What if your husband is making wagons today? Jeez, and you've got to fund it. I don't know.
Risa, bring me some more of them wagon wheels in here. Where's that wood?
Travis Bickle, are you married, and does your woman support you in your dreams? What are some of your business endeavors?
Well, let's start with the first question. Am I married? That's a yes and no. My ex lives about 740 miles from me. We just haven't done the paperwork. We've been separated for 26 years. It's just shaper this way. We see each other at barbecues and whatnot, but other than that, no.
Do you guys have any children?
Do we have? There's Travis Jr., who... that boy don't look like me. We got three in a possible.
Three in a possible.
Like a spade's hand. I got three in a possible. That Junior, I don't know.
Y'all gonna go board?
That Junior, I tell you what, Junior looks like El DeBarge, and I don't understand that. I really do not understand that.
Do you suspect she was with a black man?
Well, you tell me. All right. You take a look at me, and you take a look at him. Sometime I hear him in the shower. Who's holding Donna now? And that's an El DeBarge song.
Who's holding Donna now?
I don't know who this. Yeah. I mean, the real evil is that she picked the one don't look nothing like me, named him Junior.
Wow.
That's some get back for you right there.
That was a Travis Bickle moment. Hey, let's get back to the topic. Let's go in.
There's something to be said about drive, I think. Sometimes people have goals and the word dream that Jeff isn't really a fan of.
No.
But really, it has everything to do with drive. I know that for me, my husband, he's the kind of type who's more a procrastinator. He may have a particular goal, but it takes him a little longer to reach that goal, and I might have to be the one that has to push him to reach that goal. So I think that sometimes you have to understand that about
define push.
Well, for me, push is a little intense. I'm like, this is something that you want to do. Then you need to get your stuff together and you need to line up your ducks, and then you need to be on the road towards getting there. But that is your dream. It might not be my dream, but I see the potential in him. I know you don't like the word potential.
Jasmine, did your husband, did he feel close to his parents when he was younger or no?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, because I bring that up because when you said the word procrastination, which is a big thing, something that I've seen over the years is a lot of people procrastinate not because they're lazy, but because they're lonely.
True.
And that's why they will do things. That's why you will clean up something when someone, instead of getting in an argument, says, let's just do it together.
Right.
And and I asked you about your husband because a lot of people when they were young they felt really alone, and so when they have to do something, it's often something they have to do alone, and they start re-feeling what they felt like as a child, and they don't want to do it. But if instead of getting into a debate, you just say let's do it together.
Right.
Wow. And you know what, Doc? Let me piggyback that because I would go even deeper. I would say lonely in the sense of there's an awful feeling of loneliness that accompanies me if I don't know how to do something. I may have the end result, but then if I don't have the tools to get to the end result, a lonely feeling will come with that as well.
Yeah, I'm going to give a relationship tool. Okay, I have these every now and then because what I'm hearing now, there's a radio show, so it's kind of fine that we're firing back at each other. But would most of you agree that when you're in a reactive conversation with your partner, it's not generally a good one? Would you agree?
We agree. If it's reactive,
when
yes.
you're both reactive,
yes.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So one of the things that some couples that I know have tried really makes sense, and they call it ARP, not the retired thing, but ARP prevention, ARP. And what they say is we are both addicted to reacting poorly in life, and we both do it. So what they say is we're both addicts. We're going to be sponsors. So every day they share victories about times when they normally would react poorly but didn't.
Wow.
And they root each other on. So, so the wife might say, I didn't yell at the kids. I didn't swerve on the road. I just pulled the car over to the side. Wow, how'd you do that? Well, I thought I was going to get us killed if I did that again. And the guy might say, hey, the person at work that drives me crazy came in and I just feel like throwing something. Wow. Yeah, what'd you do? I don't know, I just listen. I mean, I don't think I made it any better, but boy, I didn't make it any worse. So what you do is, if that's true, if we all agree that reacting poorly, which is something we can all do, makes things worse, share victories every day, become a sponsor, and that'd be a good 12-step
Share
become
victories,
more of a team.
And now you're starting to see, just in that alone, that's trust building. That's trust architecture.
That's team building, so you're not alone.
Man.
You're not alone in getting better.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you,
power.
Doctor.
That's
Thank
power.
you. That is
True or false? Men hold women down longer when they are unemployed as opposed to women holding down men longer
I think that's true.
when they're unemployed.
Possibly in a lot of cases.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Somebody call us 323-965-1600.
That's easy.
Women got a shorter time limit
there's
for
a lot
men?
of stay-at-home moms.
Dudes don't go into most dudes I know do not, and maybe this is bad, but we not checking your credit. A dude will see a fine homeless chick and dust her off. Okay, we're not
You
looking.
know what? You need your kicks
That's
dust
all
off.
that heifer need. Who else was watching Jungle Fever and went, damn, that's a fine ass crackhead when Halle Berry was on the screen.
All she need is a little
need
wash rag on her face.
A facial and a trip to the Gap. That's all she needs.
But look, it's been proven.
Dudes, women don't go it.
Okay, it's been 6 months.
Women do not. Ain't no woman hit the brakes at a stoplight. Nah! That is a fine homeless cat.
That
right
comes
there.
down to expectations, really, because I think that some women expect men to be the head of the house, and they expect them to support. And if they're
Not with my theory of the Renaissance woman. We're living in the time of the Renaissance woman. More education and more money.
I beg to
But I'm saying more education and more money, to me, creates a conflict or a contradiction for the new woman. More education, more money means redefining of gender roles now. Now women have to go and look for different types of currency from men because now she can provide for herself.
Yeah.
So if she goes and looks for a traditional man and she's a Renaissance woman, she's inviting conflict into her experience. I'm just saying. 323-965-1600. Somebody call us.
Here's
we got
why I
callers.
say that. Here's why I say that. I deal with a lot of professional women and men in my business as a matchmaker. And so I get commonly the request for a man who isn't potential or a man who isn't on his way up. They want someone who is already established because they want...
He ain't looking for nobody.
Because what they're looking for is someone not so much to support them, because I think at this point we're pretty set that most women don't need men for support.
Right.
But they still want that ability to have someone who can take care of them in certain areas of their lives, whether it's emotionally.
Hey,
or
stop being
financially.
greedy.
A broke dude can take
Stop
care of you
it.
I
emotionally.
agree, though.
Right.
But I think women.
I get that.
I think women have 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future.
I agree.
The bottom line is you guys have power, but you want to hold on to victimhood, damsel in distress consciousness. Because what it says is, if I ever fall off, I want the fucking safety net of the trapeze.
That is
No, I don't.
I'm telling you.
It's a biological part aspect. to
Wrong.
this. Yes, it is.
I do not agree.
Because with us,
Caesar!
we carry all these eggs in our bodies. Men, you're ejecting all the the sperm, all these different factors. And when a woman, it's not biological.
So you mean
nature
it
for
makes
us- for
sense?
us- No,
It
no,
makes
no,
sense
listen,
to you.
no, no,
Wait, let me
wait.
ask you this question.
Okay.
It makes sense to you
Yes.
that in the prenuptial agreement of Jay-Z and Beyonce, that if they divorce, he has to pay her millions of dollars when she's already worth it?
Well, but prenups are customizable.
But it's customizable.
So they're not always
That's a yes
that
or no.
way. They're not always.
But that's a
that
yes
way.
or no.
What do you mean? Do I agree with that?
Yes.
No, I don't.
She's
agree with that.
already
I
a
don't-
millionaire,
I don't
a
agree with that. I
gazillionaire.
don't agree with that.
I'm just saying.
Take care of them baby.
Because that's spiteful. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
I'm just saying, we can't, if we go back to the Bible and all of this gender role, I've already proven that they read it wrong. The woman is the leader. Genesis 5:2-3. It explains the man's name. Hold on, Doc. The man's name is Rememberer. The woman's name is Tribal Intelligent Leader. If you go look it up, Strong's Concordance, and you look up the word male and female, you'll find that the man's name is Rememberer. Remember not to fuck with the tree, would you? And her name is Nekeba, Tribal Intelligent Leader. That's why the devil went to her first. That's why her punishment is the most severe. Now you will be subordinate to him. Well, that would only work if she wasn't subordinate in the first place.
Wow. Right. So some people
Go
say
on,
women were
preach
here.
it
Some
then.
people say that
Jeez.
women were here first, and actually every man that was in the womb was actually chemically and every other way was a female origin first.
But the point I'm making is we got to stop this patriarchal nonsense that the woman is a victim. She has power. And you got to take 1 foot out of the past of the patriarchal submission.
I need to say something.
I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Okay, I got to say this. I'm talking about from the biological standpoint, and there's research about it. You do the research about it, but it's basically women look for a provider for their children, whether they have them or not. They look for someone that can be a protector as well, because men are far more have far more physical power. Yeah. And so when a woman has a child, she does.
He's
need a
your
protector.
servant.
Now, women.
He's security.
Women are about women with this oxytocin and estrogen. They're about building. Men are about winning.
Yes.
And men can't. And then what happens is winning, unfortunately, is a young man's game. And as men get older, they can't stand to lose. So for men, when they get older, they hate feeling like they're wrong all the time.
So they get an 18-year-old girl.
Yeah, and one of the things that women really
At least
can't
she's
stand
moldable.
about
You got to
men-
be winning to get one of them.
No, but one of the things, let me ask you, one of the things that women can't stand about men is when men make excuses.
Ooh, go deeper. Go deeper, Doc.
Yes.
Amen.
Say more about that.
Yes.
About men making excuses.
Yeah, do you think women can't stand that? Because when when men make an excuse, you can't build anything. It's like, and especially a lot of times.
But sometimes women don't know the difference between an excuse and a reason.
One of the problems is when that man is trying to win and he's courting and all this sort of stuff. He will make promises that in the moment he believes, but he has no intention of fulfilling.
That's game.
And then when the woman says, "What about these things you said we're going to do?" Stop pressuring me.
Well, the difference is
That's
that
true.
men usually use those reasons or excuses to stop them, whereas women, we tend to bulldoze our way over those reasons. We have the same reasons. We have the same disappointments and fears and all of those things, both men and women. I mean, we're not that different that we don't come across those same hardships. But I think for ladies, we tend to look at those things and say, okay, that might be a reason why it might slow me down to reach this goal. But I'm just going to reach it and I'm not going to look back. Whereas a guy might say, that's a stumbling block. Oh, well, let me walk away.
But this is why I say she's in a lot of cases, men and women can be Richard
Not all
Parkers.
cases.
This is in a lot of cases they could be Richard Parkers because they become goal diggers. You're not dating me, you're dating a goal. You're dating a concept, you're dating potentiality, and you're not invested in co-creating with me. Jeff Brown.
I had a question. Just so I got to go back. When you were talking about this matchmaking,
Yes.
I know the man that these women are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an overabundance of
affluent, accomplished, incredibly good-looking men sitting around on the weekend going, damn, I sure wish I had somebody to go out with.
Yeah,
Really?
I do.
Then they're lame.
Wow.
Because
You know
the
what?
real accomplished man from the inside out
be
has a
surprised.
line wrapped around his
No,
house.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, tell me something.
Tell you something. I have a client who is a very high level bank executive.
Okay.
Black man. And
I bet you he's wearing some tight ass Dockers.
Hey, my name is
Just as-
Oliver.
right, just as corny.
I mean, you know.
Just
is
as
this-
corny as a bag of Doritos.
Is this confidential? Because I can't, I mean, you know, I was just asking.
And you know what? He realistically can have any kind of woman that he chooses to have if he really wanted one.
I like Mandingo broads.
But he is also very particular about what he's looking for. And I think there is a myth that men really just have all the options, because having all the options doesn't necessarily mean it's easier.
Right.
More options.
No, that's true though.
No, having a lot to choose from can be hard to pick one.
But it's easier for a man because we get to hit them all.
Yeah.
And no, really.
And
Especially when we have
men
options.
aren't as picky either. That's been proven.
And we're not really being picky.
That's a problem. That's why we here today.
It's I'll hit them all until I find the right one.
Yes.
And the right one is the one that pursues you the most, perhaps.
No. Exactly backwards.
You don't
exactly
think so?
backwards.
Drop it on us then. Tell me what's going on.
The right one is not the one who pursues you most. You want to know where a man is with you? It's real simple. Right after sex, right after he has reached his climax, how does he treat you? How does he treat you right then?
If you hear a fart and you see his back,
yeah,
it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I said that because there's a lot of men out there who end up in relationships with women. They end up in relationships, and it's usually after the woman they work the hardest to get them. Some men, and that's not really like the brightest kind of guy. That's not the kind of guy I'm going for.
Oh no, we never talk about that. We're not talking about that.
Okay, listen.
There's a lot of those.
This
out there.
show can continue.
Yes.
But it cannot today. What I want to do right now is, I want to give everybody a shot to tell us where you are, where they can find you. We need you to follow us. Follow Zoe at Zoe Williams. Follow me right now on Twitter at Zoe Williams. But Jasmine Diaz, you're up first. Where can they find you? How do they participate?
Anyone who is looking for me or would love to learn more about what I have going on could check me out on Twitter. I am Black Matchmaker, pretty simple. And you can also go to our website, SeanMcKenzie.com, which is Sean McKenzie Agency, or you can pick up my new book called Dating Like a Superhero.
Wow. Say the name of that book one more time.
Dating Like a Superhero.
And the name of the website one more time.
SeanMcKenzie.com.
Yo, she's dope, man. She's dope. That's why we had her back for another week, and it may happen again. Margot, talk to us.
Yes, DestinationLoveLife.com is coming soon, and if you would like to be a contributor, we're looking for amazing people to contribute to the site. I deal with areas of love, health, relationships, psychological, emotional, intellectual, all those good things that people, that we all need to have better lives. And you can follow me on Twitter at Destin Love Life, and you can read my love and relationship articles because I am the love and relationship editor at beautycomeforth.com, FORTH, and you can read my current relationship article labeled The Relationship Detox, which is a very important article. We might have to talk about that next time.
Excellent.
Thank
My
you.
man, Jeff Brown.
At GB Funny Style. Follow me on Twitter. Ringtones coming. I swear they coming. Just ignorant.
Oh, T-shirts coming too. For real.
T-shirts coming. For real.
Yeah. And Mark?
Just Google me under Mark Goulston, and you'll be very impressed and confused by what I do.
Wow. Zoe Williams. Follow Zoe Williams at ZO Williams. Follow us. Get involved. The conversation shall continue. Oh, also, the Zoe What discussion Facebook group. You must join. Sisters put this together. Wow. Appreciate you guys. We got to go. Holla at you next week. Deuces.